had to get kind of moved around for some personal reasons, but the video is doing well and people really liked it. So today we are going to dive into simple personal finance, folks. This is going to be really about for anyone who wants to get ahead. I know cost of living sucks. Paying for gas is now like $4 a gallon in my small town in Michigan. For rest in peace, anybody who lives in California. But in all seriousness, inflation, cost of living, housing prices not going down, everything going up. It's making it harder to get ahead. It's making it harder to build wealth. It's making it harder to do that. And so it's not impossible. There's a lot of systems that are playing against you right now. But my mindset is no matter what the system looks like, you still have to be responsible with what you have. It doesn't absolve you from your own responsibility to making the situation as good as you possibly can for yourself. So today, I'm going to go over a couple things. So let me get advanced into here. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about my story, just really quickly, because I don't really share any personal finance context in my content or anything. I don't really like talking about my own personal finances on content. I think that's weird, and it doesn't really help a lot of people the way some people think it's helping. It's just really flexing when they have a lot of money, like all the influencers like to do. I don't do that. I also probably don't have as much money as them. But hey, COVID hit in 2020. I went on unemployment. I was running a social media marketing business with my friend in college. COVID hit. We were collecting unemployment. I wanted to use that money responsibly. I had no way of spending it, and I just kept showing up in my bank account because, it was COVID. Everybody kind of understands what was going on there. So what I did is I studied. I was like, okay, I have this money. I have no way of spending it right now because the world's shut down. What could I do with this? Like, how can I make the most out of this as someone who was 18 years old at the time? And during that COVID, you guys know I lost the weight during COVID. So every day, you can ask Ashley, it kind of drove her nuts. I would wake up, work out for several hours, spend my time meal prepping or studying investing, studying finance, studying personal finance, real estate, stock markets, crypto. I had some friends that really tried to put me down a big crypto rabbit hole for a while. That was quite the journey there. I treated them like a full-time job before I could get back to working. And I learned a lot of ways that to get ahead and to build wealth and to build investments and spending to avoid. As someone who isn't making $1 million a month, how can you still get ahead and build a solid nest egg for yourself, build a large investment portfolio? And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. Getting to, having multiple commas in, that's 7 figures, but getting commas in your investment portfolio, in your Roth IRAs, into your stock market accounts, right? That's what this is about today. So this is kind of my story of how I've been able to stay debt-free, and then how you guys can get ahead as well. So the 3 things we're going to talk about today are risk awareness, understanding risk, the good risk and the bad risk. This is something that a lot of people are never taught in school. That's the whole reason I'm doing this for you guys, is because nobody was taught this in school, and it's bullshit. We had an elective personal finance class in high school, and I tried to join it, and they didn't let me in because they only had one class that ran one period. So I was pushed into I think it was A push. I think it was AP US history instead. So kind of got shafted in that exchange. But this is stuff that everybody should be taught, and nobody is. And so that's why I wanted to make this available to my community, because no matter who you are, how old you are, how much money you make, this is stuff you need to know. So we're going to talk about risk awareness, the traps that people are most likely getting stuck in nowadays. Financial prioritization, meaning how can you audit yourself, and where do you start? How do you come up with a path forward? Like, okay, here's what I have. I'm not happy with it. Or maybe you are happy with it, but you want to make it better. What's the next steps forward? That's what that means. And then finally, we're going over some fundamentals about investing your money. These are principles that you can use no matter what, good, bad, or ugly. About how the economy is, because the economy is a scary place right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of people calling that this is like the next 2008 financial crisis. At the end of the day, yeah, there's a lot of economic indicators with the Fed, with the government, with oil prices, with the money printing. There's a lot of things pointing to a lot of uncertainty right now in the economy. But it doesn't absolve you from doing everything in your power to improve your situation, both with how you manage your money and how you're making your money and how you're investing your money. Those things will not change no matter what, because if the economy crashes, we're all affected, right? So don't sit here worrying, oh, is the economy going to crash? That's not going to serve you at all. People have been calling for a crash since 2020. Like since the 2020 crash initially happened, people said the economy was going to completely explode for the last 6 years. I've been hearing it all the time, right? It's in a scary place. We're going to show up and we're going to do it scared anyway. So a lot of people, the main reason why a lot of big fellas, a lot of people don't build their wealth is because they don't know where to start. So they do nothing, right? They get trapped in super big debt early on, right? Super hefty student loans, buying a brand new car for $30,000 and paying a $700 car payment. These are things that kill wealth building opportunities, because I'm going to be honest with you, the younger you are, no matter how old you are right now, I know most of us are 20s and 30s in this call, but no matter how young or old you are, your money will never be worth more than it is right now, right? So the best day to start was yesterday. The second best day to start is today, right? So you got to be able to build a little bit more peace with your finances. And we're going to teach you how to do that, because this stress that comes from thinking about things outside of your control, or worrying about investments, or just having any sort of financial stress, wherever it's coming from, it will bleed into your gym. It will bleed into your sleep. It will bleed into your focus, and it will bleed into your relationships. This is not just about getting a fat number in your retirement account. This is about living a more peaceful life right now. I'm going to show up with some systems today that are going to help you take a freaking chill pill and relax a little bit. And sometimes I need that same chill pill as well. So this is a money order of operations. This is some of the writer downers here. So this is, where should you be putting your money first with any excess cash? How should you be looking at building your financial health? This is the first writer downer right here. If you guys are familiar with Dave Ramsey or Graham Stephan or Caleb Hammer on YouTube, they are all going to say very similar things to what this is here, okay? The very first thing you should make sure you have built is a 6-month emergency fund. I say 3 to 6 months on this page. I think 6 months is absolutely necessary. That means figure out what your monthly expense ratio is, or how much money you're spending every month on basic necessities, multiply it by 6. You have to have that much money in a high yield savings account that is for emergencies only. That is, lose your job, I have that to fall back on. Car completely explodes like Ashley's Mini Cooper did last year, I've got some money to fall back on. That's what it's for. And then putting it into a high yield savings account just makes it a little bit more, it makes it grow a little bit faster at a better interest rate. That's your safety net. You have to have that there first, right? That creates a ton of peace of mind. If you already don't have that, or if it's only a 3-month, make it a 6-month. Number 2, killing high interest debt. This is like super predatory loans, super predatory credit cards with crazy high interest rates, right? Just so you guys understand the effects of interest, a close friend of mine bought a house recently. The loan was about $300,000. If he paid it off on normal payments every month like he's supposed to without paying ahead, he will end up paying a total of $650,000 on a $300,000 loan. That's fucking ridiculous. And that's what we're trying to kill. And that's a mortgage, so that's a little bit different. But that is the effect that interest can really have on people. I've seen posts of a lady talking about how she never misses a personal or a student loan payment. And her student loans are growing. Her student loans, she has more to pay off than what the original loan was for, because the interest is so high. So figure out what your highest interest debt is and pay that off first. Pay that off aggressively, right? Once your emergency fund is made, kill the high interest debt one thing at a time. What has the highest APR? Kill that first. Then if you have your employer offering a 401k match, use it. It's free money. It's not going to feel like a lot now, but boy, doggy, will that compound in your favor in the future. It's free money. Use it. Use it, use it, use it. That's your retirement plan. It's a really great wealth building tool. You're not going to get stupidly uber rich off of it, but if you're already working for the company and you foresee yourself being there for a while, literally, why wouldn't you? That's my mindset on it. Roth IRA, this is something that everybody should be doing. The limit is $7,500 a year. For those of you that don't know what a Roth IRA is, it is a retirement investment account that every American gets access to do or to open. And there is a literal legal limit to how much money you can put into this account every year because it's that powerful, because it's all tax-free gains. Meaning, once you retire, I think the age is 65, you can take all of that money out completely tax-free. Now, there are rules for it. Yes, a Roth IRA, you cannot take the gains out without penalty until you're 65. So that's a long-term retirement plan, but it's all tax-free growth. You won't get taxed when you pull it out, which is insane. It is insane. And like I said, your money compounding early is what's going to make that grow tremendously. We're going to show some charts to kind of explain that. And if you have any extra money left over, invest the rest back into skills, your 401k, a separate brokerage account, possibly real estate. We'll touch on real estate a little bit today. That's for money that you don't need, right? If you have any extra left over, you've got all these boxes checked, send that money into either making yourself better, traveling, or throwing it into a brokerage account or throwing it into some other investment that you think would give you a solid return, right? It's about different risk analysis. We're going to talk about that next. When it comes to building a budget, this is another basic piece, okay? This is a framework for building a budget now, all right? Called the 50-30-20 rule. This has been around for a while. Personally, I did something a little bit different for this. You've got your needs. So ideally your income and your needs, your needs is only about 50% of your income. Your wants would be about 30% of your spending, and your wealth would be, investing would be about 20% of your spending. Now, you're going to have to adjust this based off of what your ins and outs are, as far as how much money are you bringing in, how much money are you taking out. All right. If you're making $8K a month and your churn is $3K a month on your expenses, okay, so it's a little bit less than 50% for needs. Adjust accordingly. If you want to get really aggressive about building wealth, and the thing that really served me the best, increase this percentage. I saved and invested like 50% of my income for about 3 or 4 years before we moved out, and Ashley, and Ashley didn't start working for the business and all that other stuff. For about 3 years straight, I invested almost or saved 50% of all of my income, and that was the biggest difference maker. Yes, it required some short-term sacrifices where I wasn't partying very much. I didn't travel as much that year, and I worked a lot. But it's now put me in a path that is really gave me a lot of financial peace, because now I know I've got that nest egg growing for me in the background, right? But this is kind of the baseline, 50-30-20. So 50% goes to your needs, your rent, groceries, etc. 30% goes to fun, so going out, etc. And then wealth, 20%, that's investing, that's paying off debt. If you have high interest debt, this has to take higher priority. I just got to say, if you've got a credit card eating you alive at 25% interest, kill that first before you're going to the movies again. Hello, come on. We got to kill that thing fast, right? So that's the basic stuff. 5, money mistakes that derail good people and good men. Lifestyle inflation. Okay, I've been talking to a lot of clients this week, and I got like 2 or 3 different guys that are probably going to be getting raises soon, which is awesome. Big raises as well. Every time income increases, expenses don't have to. Doesn't mean that, oh, I'm going to make an extra $500 every paycheck. Doesn't mean you got to spend it. It doesn't mean you got to spend it. Live below your means to stack wealth quickly, right? And this is something that people throw a lot of toxicity at now because the cost of living is just so high in 2026. I get it. But the concept still works, right? It doesn't make them a bad person for recommending it. It doesn't make it unrealistic to try. No emergency fund, massive mistake. That means one medical bill is going to cook you. Trying to time the market. This is a big one when it comes to investing. When it comes to looking at the charts and when should I buy? When should I buy? Never, ever try to time the market. Time in the market will always beat timing the market. And that's when it comes to buying your investments. Okay. So we've covered a little bit of everything so far as understanding risk. That's kind of what this first part is about. Risk with spending, risk with savings, risk with investments. We're going to go into a little bit more specifics here after this slide. But I was taught this phrase, HODL. This is purposely typed this way, HODL. Hold on for dear life, right? Buy and hold. That is typically one of the greatest. If you're talking long-term investments, I'm not talking about day trading here, but if you're talking like a basic index fund or basic buying into the stock market, just buy and hold. Don't spend money in investments that you need to survive. Be okay with losing it or be okay with it seeing go down. But that's how wealth is built, and that is how wealth has historically been built, right? But people who try to time the charts like, oh, it's going to go down and I'm going to predict that it goes back up, you're going to lose and you're going to want to rip your own hair out. You've got other fish to fry. Don't try to time the markets. Don't pull out a crazy debt for a new car. It's stupid. It's not about looking rich. It's about being rich. Don't do that. I had friends that I know, multiple friends that I know, that were in their early 20s that didn't have a stable income, that pulled out a $28,000 loan for a new car. And now their payment's like $700 a month, and they've been behind financially because of it. It is a massive, massive, just sunk cost that is going to hurt you way more than it would be to just research on Facebook Marketplace or research some of the used car lots around you. Take an extra week or two to really do your due diligence, talk to your car friends, and find a good one, right? I bought that Toyota down in the parking lot right now for $10,000 in cash after 2 weeks of just vigorous searching and looking. And that thing is in excellent condition. Excellent condition. I did not have to take $25,000 that I didn't have, that a lot of these people are doing, and put up a payment on it. Ruins your opportunity to save money, because then every month you're still paying for it. And that's just my personal philosophy. I understand that there are different situations for different people. There is no right time. The right time is now, no matter the shape of the economy. So this is another really massive mistake, and I'm not going to call out any of you by name, but I know every single one of the people in here. I recognize every single name in this call. I know all of you do this. All of you. I also do it. Stop comparing yourself to someone on social media. Everyone on social media is trying to show you the highlight reel and trying to look rich. There are people that rent Lamborghinis and rent penthouse apartments to look cool for their offer on social media, to try to make you think that they are doing better than they really are. What you see is not always reality. It does not affect your situation at all. There is no competition. Your money and their money, they're not connected whatsoever. It doesn't matter if that person has more or less than you. Focus on being better than you were last year, right? Someone used to say to me, if no one doing better than you is going to insult you. No one doing better than you is going to try to make you feel worse, right? So if someone is trying to make you feel worse about your finances or your job, they're probably not doing that much better than you. Maybe they make more than you, but they probably don't save as much as you. I know a lot of people that make way more money than me that save way less money than I do and invest way less money than I do. The traps that nobody talks about. Financial literacy is entirely about discipline and just not being stupid. And that's all it comes down to. It's about discipline and not being stupid. The best financial decisions do not require genius. They just require you to stop making dumb ones consistently. Comparison is the thief of joy, Logan Miller. Definitely Logan Miller's quote. Yes, absolutely, Malachi. Two things here, okay? One, sports betting and gambling, all right? It's a massive trap. In 2026, you guys are watching TV too. You guys see the DraftKings and the BetMGM ads everywhere. Everywhere. I posted a post the other day that went viral where I was talking. Oh, someone else is joining. Who is this? Oh, okay, cool. We got somebody else joining. Michael, what's going on, man? So, anyway, did I admit him? Hello? I did. Okay, we're good. So, moving on. Sports betting and gambling. This is predatory specifically to my younger guys. This is predatory towards guys in their 20s and 30s. We already know the financial situation and the economic situation in the United States is not fantastic right now. That does not give you any excuse to waste your hard-earned money betting on March Madness right now. Make a bracket, have some fun. If you throw $20 into a pool at work, that's a little bit different. But betting on the actual outcome of games that you have no control over is lighting your money on fire. The house will always win. And there was some sort of legislation passed in the early 2010s that changed this, and that's why there's so much gambling everywhere. Do not delete them off your phone. If you have DraftKings or BetMGM or any other online casino, delete them off your phone. I convinced one of my best friends to do this, who constantly, and I mean constantly, talked about sports betting and was trying to get me roped into it. And I told him no probably about 150 times. And then he finally deleted them and he said, I don't do that anymore. That is the kind of change that I'm proud of. I'm not taking credit for it. That was his decision. But I'm glad that I did not give into that. I'm glad that I was hopefully a helpful piece of him no longer sports betting. It's a waste of money. DoorDash, Instacart. If you have any of these apps on your phone, delete them right now. What the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? We live in already one of the most convenient societies ever created in human history. You're going to tell me you're going to pay an additional $13 to not drive for 10 minutes to the fucking restaurant? Are you serious? No, stop being lazy. That is just pure laziness. That's what this is. I talk to a lot of people who think they're very lazy with their fitness journeys or their mind or their self-improvement or their career. This is the epitome of laziness. Stop door dashing. You're spending $28 on a $15 meal. If you want it that bad, go drive out there and fucking get it. The only time that it is okay is if you guys are in like at a party and nobody's sober and there's no food or whatever, and you're celebrating something. That's the only exception. But have somebody else do it. Don't make it you. Get that shit off your phone. I'm so dead serious. I audited a client's bank account once. He spent $1,100. I wish I was making this up. $1,100 on eating out, and it was all DoorDash. Good. Ridiculous. Insanity. Okay. This is where it's getting fun. Okay. This is a framework that I want every single person in this call to do. Literally every single one of you. I want you guys to do this. And it's very simple. Okay. This is figuring out your exact profit and loss like you are a business. Okay. You track what you care about. My weight loss clients in here, we track our calories to see that we're in fat loss. We track our protein to see that we're building muscle, right? To ensure that we are getting the goals that we want. If you are unsure about your financial situation, track every stinking dollar that's in your bank account for 1 month. And I'm not saying you have to do it every day for 30 days. What I'm saying is you go into, when you're done with this call, go into your banking app. It's March 21st as I record this. So use the full month of February, which is a short month. So I'm already cutting you some slack. The full month of February, start at Feb 1 and write down every single transaction from February 1st to the end of the month. Every single one. And categorize them. Is it an addition? Did you get paid or did you spend? Right? Put them into different categories. Income versus expenses. Okay? Write out all your income. Write out all your expenses. What's coming in, what's going out. Every single one, write it down. And then you can see, oh shit, I spent $189 on eating out last month. That's a lot of money that I'm never getting back. Did I really need to eat out that much? And I'm not saying you shouldn't be eating out, right? And ultimately, the best path forward to growing your financial situation is increasing your income, not necessarily tidbitting, micro counting your expenses. But this is also something you need to be accountable for. Stop the freaking bleeding. Right? Food, rent, basic subscriptions, fine. But if we're overspending somewhere, we gotta realize that. Or if there's somebody who has like an alcohol problem, how much money were you spending on alcohol? When you can see the cost real time after a full month. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you are insecure about your finances, this will be uncomfortable. And it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. I have to track my expenses and my income meticulously for the business. So I can get as many write-offs as I possibly can, but also so I know all the outflow and the inflow because I want to grow my business. And I have been able to maintain this business growth for this long because I've done it. This is uncomfortable, and it's good that it's uncomfortable because you will learn from it. It will stand out, and you will stop spending wastefully, and you will understand, okay, after everything said and done, in the month of February, I was in the green by 600, or I was in the red by 200, or I was in the green by 2,500. Whatever it is, know that number. That number, your profit or loss for the month, is the most important number to this situation right now. That is more important than your current net worth. I don't care what your net worth is. That number, your income to your expenses, that's the money. That's literally what you have to make the decisions for. Like that is your livelihood effectively, right? And what you do with that amount of money dictates everything else. So use that framework. I highly encourage everyone in here, please go through February and do that exercise. You will be surprised, okay? And it will change your behavior and it will be uncomfortable. Money becomes more peaceful when there's systems around it, okay? Right? When you have a system for your eating plan, your eating becomes, you get smarter about it and becomes easier because you can just rely on that system, okay? Paying yourself first is a system that makes life easier, right? When you have your money, you know that number, your monthly income, after your expenses, your gross profit, or your net profit, excuse me, your net profit every month, set aside some of that money and guarantee that it's getting invested. Guarantee. Let's say your net $2,000 in the green every month after expenses. Put 500 of that aside to invest every month. First thing, automate it, or throw it into a high yield savings account to pay off debt or whatever your situation is. But save or invest first. Pay or invest yourself first. Don't ever spend the funny money first and then just invest the rest. Make your investments automatic. Stress about money will bleed into a health issue. Financial pressure will raise cortisol, will disrupt your sleep, will kill your focus, will damage your relationships, and will make you feel overwhelmed. Whether you're making $250,000 a year or $30,000 a year, having systems and knowing your numbers will reduce your stress. I am talking to some very high-level business owners in my day-to-day, guys. I know people that run $10 million businesses. I don't know them personally, but I know of hundreds of people that have a $10 million monthly recurring revenue in their business, but they spend 8 to get there. And after paying all their employees and setting aside for taxes, they're making like $7K a month, which again is still solid money, but they have to bring in $10 million a month to get there after everything else is done. Remember, the numbers you see on social media largely are not telling the full story. They're not. And I know a lot of doctors that are broke. They got loans to pay. They immediately fall into lifestyle inflation, and their income versus their expenses are just as high as their income. So they never pay off their loans, or it takes forever to pay off their loans. So yes, it's important to know your expenses before you grow your income. Right? And you also don't need to be an expert. These are concepts that I learned as a stupid 18-year-old. Understand the core concepts is what this is about. This is why I'm here, right? Small, consistent action is always going to win, right? Investing over time, living below your means, and increasing your skill set, and always learning. If you do this for a year, your whole life will change. Now, the next writer downer that feels super obvious, but I still need you guys all to write this down. The fastest way to improve your financial situation is simply just improving your income. It sounds, duh, make more money to have more money. Of course. But there's only so much we can do on cutting expenses. It's important, and you're all going to do that exercise with your bank accounts, right? Yes. Okay, good. I'm glad you all agree. That's the best finance advice. I mistyped that. Whoopsies, I'll have to fix that. The best financial advice focuses on, no, that's not even a typo. What am I saying? Regardless, there's no ceiling on how much you can earn. I'm tweaking out, guys. I'm tweaking out because I'm that fired up. There will be eventually a floor to how much you can cut. There's only so much money you can cut in your expenses. There's not a ceiling for your income. There's not. When I started the business and the things started to take off a little bit, the amount of financial stress and the amount of just deep-rooted anxiety I had about my financial situation was a lot calmer because I knew I had more cash flow coming in every single month than what I was doing bartending. And shout out that bartending job. It was fantastic. But improving your income solves all of this a lot faster. Asking for a raise or asking for opportunities to grow, right? Most people will never ask. Most people will never network. Most people will be too scared to do so. Understand your market value. Look for other opportunities. If that company is not giving you opportunities to grow, look around. Not saying you got to ditch everything. Look around. Build a skill. Sales is a great skill. Trades are a great skill. Coding is a great skill. Something that you can learn and have a certification or be certified in that could potentially increase your income forever. right? I've got a guy right now that's not very happy in his job. He's a client of mine. He's doing one of his computer tech certs, so he can add that to his resume. It'll be a part of his income, add to his additional income potential forever once that certification is done. Does it cost money? Yeah. Does it take time? Yup. Is it worth it? Absolutely. If it potentially could increase your income for the rest of existence, you should absolutely do it. A side hustle. Side hustles are kind of demonized sometimes, but if you've got a skill set and you want to start making more money, this is not a must, right? I'm all about having hobbies that are not money. You need those. But if you have a skill that people are willing to pay for, think about it. If you're really handy with cars, doing some oil changes and some basic car maintenance for 4 or 5 of your friends could bring in an extra $500 a month. If you're really good at cleaning windows, easy one. A lot of very simple physical skills could be turned into a very scalable side business or side income on top of a normal 9-to-5. I would 100%. That's kind of that's what this turned into, guys. Like, this whole fitness big fella thing was a side hustle. I was working multiple jobs, posting on social media. I wasn't really making any money at the time when I first got started, before I started my business. If you don't have the skill set to, like, I don't have any practical skills yet, you got your time. One of my friends in grad school dog sits and makes good money dog sitting. All you need is 5 recurring clients to make some solid income every single month. So start thinking, how can you add $500 a month? That's $6,000 extra a year. And if you're doing it right, it could really fix your financial situation or improve it. Also, finding a mentor. Who you know will be so much higher leverage versus what you know. If you're a pleasure to every single human being that you meet, opportunity is going to find you. If everyone around you loves you, if everyone around you is like, wow, that Bryson guy is super valuable, or man, that Mallory lady, man, she was so helpful when I spoke to her today. I would love to talk to her again. Little things like that matter. That stands out. If you can be the most valuable person in the room, you are going to stand out, and your opportunities will find you. And also, closed mouths don't get fed. Ask for guidance. You don't know everything. No matter how long you've been working in your job, you don't know everything. There's always an opportunity to learn, and people who are hungry to learn find mentors faster. Ask questions, ask how you can get better to your superiors, and mentor relationships will find you. That's a hard thing that I wish somebody told me a lot earlier, because I heard, oh, get a mentor. I had no clue what that actually meant. Also, hot take prediction for the future. I think there's going to be more people than ever in the next 5 to 10 years starting their own personal brands and starting their own businesses in the next 5 years. I would encourage some of you to consider that aren't, maybe in love with their financial careers or their financial situations. What could you do to start your own business? Right? With the way AI is shaping out to be, and the way that the cost of living crisis is at, and the way that certain corporations are just underpaying so many of their employees, I see this as being a massive boom in entrepreneurs in the next several years. It doesn't have to be a social media business either, but that's a big prediction that I have for the future. Now, when we're talking about investments, we're about to get into some investing games, so get ready, guys. When we're talking about investing, we need to understand the difference between an asset and a liability. An asset is something that brings money or something back into your life. A liability takes from your life. Okay? So a car, which immediately loses its value when you drive it off of the new car lot, by the way, immediately, and then you also have car payments on it, liability, right? Holding an index fund in your stock portfolio, that's an asset that will grow, that will do more for you. Okay? So assets invest in you, liabilities take from you. This is more lifestyle talking here. What are some other unknown? Obviously, real estate is an asset. Obviously, not your home. That's a little bit different. But stocks are an asset. A business is an asset. But there's some other things that not a lot of people realize that are also really excellent assets. A gym membership is an asset. Your health is your most important asset to you. A healthy man has 99 problems. A sick man has just one: getting better. A mentor or a trainer or a coach, shorten the gap. All those people do All I do is I shorten the gap of knowledge. I shorten the time it takes to learn a skill that originally would have previously done for you to do on your own. For most of my clients, that's why I'm here, right? Pay to shorten the time it would take to build some of those core habits. Therapy and mental health. Don't be a weenie. Talk about your feelings. That's an asset. We're not here to blow up on our family members. We're not here to whine and bitch and moan about our situation and do absolutely nothing about it when we're too hurt to hurt anybody else. Don't fucking do that. Talk about your feelings. It's super cool. Books, courses, and education is the highest return on investment that you will ever make, which is towards you, right? I'm going to say this about 100 times today. I'm going to say it again right now. The best investment you could make is into yourself. I was an 18-year-old kid who had just lost a bunch of weight, didn't know shit about anything, but knew he wanted to lose weight. I bought certifications and I studied. I bought into a business and I built that with my friend, failed a lot, but learned a lot from it. I bought books. I did courses. I bought multiple certs. I studied on YouTube like a madman. I talked to everybody that I knew about this. I made myself into someone worth owning a business. I made myself into a six-figure entrepreneur, not the other way around. So many people think like, oh man, I don't have $100,000 to my name. Oh, I don't have $1 million to my name yet. Don't worry about having $1 million. Focus on becoming someone worth earning $1 million. Let's talk about liabilities. DoorDash, Instacart. Don't piss me off. Delete it off your phone. DraftKings, MGM, FanDuel. Don't piss me off. Delete it from your phone. Unused subscriptions. There's a really cool, you could obviously will get a lot of this from your bank account audit that you're all going to be doing with pen and paper after this call. But also there are strategies like Rocket Money to have you do it kind of on a recurring basis. There's always a couple hidden in there. Think about it. How can you cut them? Unnecessary clothing or miscellaneous purchases. Sometimes people just go a little overboard with their spending, right? I know a lot of people that complain about their financial situations and then they'll go and spend $400 on some bullshit that they just don't need 2 days later. Somebody did that to me yesterday. Not to me, but I saw somebody that I know that I previously heard complaining about the housing market and their financial situation spend $400 on a gift for themselves that they didn't fucking need. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, talking about investments a little bit further. Here's some four concepts that you need to understand. Okay. Number one, compound interest. The earlier you start, the longer it grows, the faster it grows. It's like a snowball going down a hill. Starting in your 20s versus starting in your 30s can mean way more than a $300,000 difference in the long run. Time in the market, the stock market, is your biggest asset. That's why it's so mind-blowing. It's not, though, because the American education system is dog shit. It's so mind-blowing that we don't teach this in schools. It's insane and it's irresponsible. Because starting investing as early as possible is the best way to guarantee that you grow wealth. Historically, over the last 200 years, it's been the way to do it. Index funds. So I don't know if you guys know what index funds are. But when you're talking about retirement and long-term investing, index funds are not individual stocks, but you buy them like stocks. They're also called ETFs, exchange-traded funds. Okay, so if you say index funds or index funds ETFs, they're interchangeable. They're about the same thing. Mutual funds are actively managed, meaning a human being, you pay a fee to them and they manage your fund for you. An index fund just follows a list. An index is a list. Okay. So if I were to buy an index fund that was tracking the S&P 500, which is a list of the top 500 companies in the United States. Okay. So that's just a list called the S&P 500 tracking the top 500 companies. If I buy an index fund that tracks that index, the S&P 500, and it correlates with it, I am now buying, if I buy that index fund, there's one called VOO. I buy a shit ton of VOO all the time. VOO tracks the S&P 500. So if I buy one share of VOO, I'm getting 500 baby pieces of all of those companies in the S&P 500. So I'm safe. I'm diversified. I'm not overly weighted into just one company. If I go buy What is this? Okay, tissues. If I buy $20 worth of Presto tissues and the stock goes down for this one specific company 50%, I'm cooked. I have nothing to protect me there. But if it's a part of an index fund of other tissue companies, but they're all doing well, I'm not going to get hit as hard. So it's a very safe, air quotes, investment because you're diversified. And that's what most retirement and long-term portfolios are going to look like. It's not individual stocks, it's mostly index funds. I encourage you all to do more research on index funds because they're awesome. Tax advantage accounts, we already kind of talked about this. 401k, Roth IRA. Taxes suck, especially when we're not getting any freaking benefit from them right now. You know, they're all getting sent overseas. So taxes suck. Your 401k and your Roth IRA, we already kind of touched on those. They're very, very important concepts to know. And then it's about timing in the market instead of timing the market. Time in the market beats timing it. If you're wondering, like, when should I invest? I have money on the sidelines. Now, and set up a recurring buy and never think about it. Right? If you have $2,000 on the sidelines and you don't know what to do with it, research what you want to buy, start the account, put $500 in today, and then make a recurring buy of $500 every month. It's that easy. Boom. Now you never have to think about it, and your investment portfolio will grow in the background for you. That is called dollar cost averaging. And it's about buying every single week or month or day. It doesn't really matter the time interval, but it's buying consistently no matter the price. Historically, the data shows that buying often, consistently, will grow your returns the best. Instead of trying to watch the charts and wait for it to dip, nobody knows what the stock market is. Nobody knows what the stock market's doing. If they tell you they know what they're doing, they're lying to you. The simplest intro to investing. This is not law. All investment is risk, okay? Things are very different. 2026 is a very weird time. I am here to try to teach you guys some of the basics of these concepts so you understand them, and then you can take that knowledge and run with it yourself. AI and technology are changing the way the world works right now. We live in a lot of uncertainty. These concepts are what have worked historically, but it's not a guarantee that everything's going to happen that exact same way in the future. So that's why, one more time, the best investment is into your skill set. That is how you will make more money. And when you make more money every month, you can do more with it. Okay? Money grows money. So the best, what's the least risky investment? Your skill set every time, 10 out of 10, bar none. But let's talk a little bit more about what it looks like to actually put money into the market. What does $200 a month look like? If you're investing into just the general market, if you were to track an index fund, tracking the growth of the whole stock market, it's very common. I buy into this one as well, right? This is what it looks like. So when people say just throw it into the market, they're saying just throw it into an index fund that's tracking the whole market. It's usually about 7% or 8% per year as far as general growth, right? And a lot of people would argue that that's not going to make you rich. But if your normal investment strategy is to gamble on DraftKings, then it's a step above. It's a step in the right direction, right? After 10 years, if you invested only $200 a month with zero at the start, that would look like $38,000 after 10 years, $152,000 after 20 years, $452,000 after 30 years, and $1.27 million after 40 years, right? So when people talk about being a millionaire when they retire or when they're 40 or when they're 50 or 60, it comes from consistent buying and unemotional buys, right? I have watched my crypto portfolio literally lose $15,000 in a week. Unfazed. I've seen it happen multiple times, unfortunately. And then it always goes back up, right? I've seen the stock market tank with COVID. We all saw it, right? It's about unemotional buying. The best leaders are consistent and unemotional, just like when we're doing in a fitness journey, right? This strategy here is called dollar cost averaging, right? Watch how this snowballs. It's an exponential growth. That's what we're trying to collect here, okay? Understanding the stock market, we already talked about index funds. The S&P 500, that list I was mentioning earlier, that index is average 8% growth each year. Lately, it's been closer to 10%. When you try to make projections on the last slide using like a retirement calculator, that's what they're using, right? If you ever look up retirement calculator, You can put in all your information, how much money you plan on investing, and it'll tell you how much money you're going to retire with based on 8%-ish growth per year. And it's a really awesome tool to see what your money now can turn into in the future. There's multiple different stock accounts. We already talked about the Roth IRA. A basic brokerage account is just like a normal investment account. A SEP IRA is a different type of retirement account with its own different rules. And then an 𝕂𝕊𝕋𝔸𝕾 account is for anybody under 18. So there are different types of accounts. A lot of people will just open a Roth IRA and say, okay, I did it and I put money in it, but it's just sitting in there like a bank account. They haven't bought any investments. You have to buy a fund. You have to buy a stock. You have to buy something inside of those brokerage accounts. You can't just put them in there. You got to actually do your research and understand where you're going and putting your money, because you're buying slivers of companies when you're buying in the stock market or you're buying into index funds. I really like investing into the stock market because personally, in the last 5 to 10 years, it has been the best investment as far as returns go, right? My returns on my investments have been incredible. I think I have like a 50% return on some of my Costco stock. It's awesome. Shout out Costco. But as far as beginning into investing, I'm going to recommend stocks personally. I'm not a financial advisor, but I like stocks way over like starting to try and get invested in real estate or something like that. It's lower barrier to entry. It's way higher liquidity. Liquidity means in case push comes to shove, that asset can be turned into cash, right? So when I'm going to buy a house, I'm pulling some of that money out of the stock market to throw it into my house, probably, right? That's easily liquid. I don't have to wait for an entire house buying process, or I don't have to wait to sell a company that I own to get access to my money. That's what liquidity really means. So it's about how fast can an asset be converted back to cash. That's what liquidity means. If you ever hear that term, that's what it means. But yeah, a big rule that I need to remind you guys: never, ever, 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 ever invest money into the stock market you cannot afford to lose. You have to be completely okay, have an untouchable emergency fund in case that goes to zero. That's just a general rule, so you're never freaking out about it. Talking about compound interest, Charlie Munger, one of the best investors in human existence, says the big money is not in the buying and in the selling, it's in the waiting, right? When you can passively watch your portfolio gain $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 without doing anything, it's a sign that things are working pretty well, right? And the compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Anybody who has had money in the market for a long time will tell you that, right? So it's about being unemotional and investing consistently and often, right? Opening an investment account looks like this. You open up your brokerage account. There's a bunch of different brokerages. I use M1 Finance personally. A lot of you guys know about Robinhood, Vanguard, Fidelity, a little bit older. If you don't have a Roth IRA and you're watching this, please go open a Roth IRA. Please research a Roth IRA, and please start investing into your Roth IRA. Choose your investment allocation. Remember, always, always, always do your own research. What assets are you going to buy? Are you going to buy an index fund? Are you going to buy a couple individual companies? Ultimately, nobody can decide that but you. Do not let your one friend let you. Don't ever do this. Don't let, hey, man, I got this stock. It's really awesome. I think it's going to go up a lot. Don't just blindly throw money at that. That is one of the stupidest things you could possibly do. You have to do your own research. You have to understand where your money's going. And then once you feel confident in where your money is going, there are things like PE ratios, and there's a numerical data to track and understanding the growth on average for these companies and funds. You have to do your own research before you just start buying into the stock market. You can't just do it blindly. And remember, if this is a long-term investment for you, don't think about it all the time. Put it in there and forget about it. Don't think about it for a long time. Put it in there and forget it. Set it and forget it. And this is not about trading, right? This is about just setting up the basics of building long-term wealth. We're almost done. We're almost done. I know this has been a lot of information. Shout out to everybody that's been here. Debt and buying a home. Debt. The entire U.S. economy is built on debt, and we are very over-leveraged on our debt right now. The United States national debt just hit $39 trillion, I think, which is insane. Not all debt is necessarily bad, but you've got to be careful about those high interest rates. You got to be careful about those car payments, those payday loans. You can't let that stuff eat you alive. An okay-ish debt is like a car loan with a super low APR that you need to have, and manageable payments that you know you can pay off with a time horizon that it works for you. A good debt would be like owning real estate that is cash flowing you money. So if I own an investment property and the mortgage on that is $1,000 a month, but I'm having somebody pay rent on 1,500, yeah, landlord's gross. That is good debt, right? But owning your house by itself is not necessarily good debt. A lot of people say that owning your own home is actually a liability in a lot of cases, because you need to have a 20% down payment saved. For most people, you don't necessarily need one. You could do a first-time home buyer loan. What's less, it's like 3.5%. 3 to 6 months emergency fund on top of that after you buy the house. Understand that your monthly payment for your house and all your bills needs to be less than 30% of your take-home pay every month, which that's the number that's fucking a lot of people over right now, because not a lot of people have the ability to do that because housing prices are so freaking high. I would recommend being able to plan to stay for at least a few years so you can build some equity, you can build it up, make some improvements to it. Having savings to invest in repairs, there's kind of a general rule. Save and prepare to save 1% of the total house's worth per year to just fix stuff that breaks. So if I buy a $300,000 house, I should have $3,000 set aside every year to fix whatever breaks around the house. Make sure your debt is cleared. Just because people around you are buying houses does not mean you need to buy a house just yet. Yes, the idea of paying into a mortgage on money you will eventually get back when you sell it is enticing, but there is a real cost that costs a lot of money. If your kid puts a hole in the wall, you got to pay for it. It's not the landlord. If the water heater goes out, you got to pay for it. It's not the landlord. So there's a real cost with owning a home. If you've not been a homeowner yet, think about the cost benefit analysis of renting and investing the difference of the money that you'd be saving. You may end up making more money that way. And with the way the housing market is right now, a lot more people are recommending that approach over everything else. My personal rankings for how I like to rank my investments. Number one will always be in yourself. Like I said, starting a business, investing in your health, your education, your skill set. Then I'm a big fan of just index funds, simple, historically, steady and safe, good set it and forget it, low risk. I don't have to think about that money. I just know it's back there, doing its own thing. I don't think about it very much. Real estate, different from owning your own home. Investment properties require a lot of maintenance, and they require a lot of maintenance and a lot of money. So it requires more capital to get into. There's also the mindset of they're not making any more land. The earth has only got so much, so just kind of think about that a little bit. I do think getting your hands on some real estate when the time is right is always good for everybody. And the sooner the better, but within reason, within responsibilities. There is a lot more sweat equity required into real estate. And then also crypto. I hold crypto. I've held crypto for a long time. It has a really bad rap. That's why I put it 4. There's a lot of risk. There's a lot of volatility. The crypto market itself is very manipulated by a lot of bad actors. I hold a lot of Bitcoin. I hold a couple of Ethereum. I hold another smaller one that has a lot of tech behind it, but we'll wait and see. I've held that stuff for a long time. I don't think about it often, and I'm still net positive on my investments by multiple $1,000s. So I'm just going to let it ride, right? But understand that a lot of people are trying to use Bitcoin as kind of a hedge against inflation. So do some of your own research on Bitcoin, and if that sounds like something you would want to do, then go into that. I'm not going to spend a lot of extra time talking about it. Last couple slides before we finish up today, everybody. Know what you're working towards. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. That's from Epictetus. He's a pretty smart guy. This is one of the truest possible quotes I could share with you today, genuinely. It is not about having a bunch of stuff. It's about not needing very much, right? I'm going to be out and about all day today. I'm going to be running with my friends. I'm catching up on a quick dinner with some other friends, and I'm having a bonfire with some other friends. I haven't hung with my friends in a while, but I don't need to spend money on stuff. I don't need a lot of other people to tell me what to do. I have a lot of freedom because I don't need much. I'm pretty easy to please. If I can work out, spend some time with my dog, I don't have a lot of wants. That's what wealth comes from. And there's a lot of inner work that is required there. Money is a tool. Money is not the goal. Money is about reducing your stress and reducing the pressure that you're feeling every day. Your success is your peace, right? It's not about the amount of money that's in your bank, the amount of money in your stock market portfolio, the amount of money in your real estate portfolio. If you got your basic needs met, your bills are paid, you're buying food, your dinner, you don't have to check your bank account every time you go out to dinner. It just makes life smoother. That's what I infer that this is about, right? It's not about becoming a billionaire. It's about making myself comfortable and then using the rest of my skill set and my money to give back to people. Give, right? You'll feel a lot of that peace in giving to people who need more than you. And also remember, a healthy man has 100, or a healthy man has 100 problems. A sick man has just one. Never, ever sacrifice your health for a paycheck, ever. So, some action steps for today. Number one, know your numbers. Write down all of that income expenses in your bank account. Go through the transaction history on your bank account. It's going to feel uncomfortable. Do it anyway. 2, start an investment account or a Roth IRA or traditional brokerage account. Research about some index funds to put your money. 3, build 1 month up of expenses in a high yield savings account. Maybe use that money. If you don't have an emergency fund, build an emergency fund. But if you already do have an emergency fund, build up some extra expenses and put that towards some education. Put that towards some education for adding a skill set, hiring a mentor, and whatever skill that you might be interested in, because it's necessary if you want to continue to get better. And the world is going to change a lot. And if you're changing with it and you accept that change and you get better and you learn as you roll the punches, you're going to be fine. You're going to figure it out. You always do, right? And sometimes you just got to remember yourself that like a lot of that wealth stuff, like the market could crash 150 points today. I have no control over it. I'm going to roll the punches like I always do. And that's the kind of the mindset I would recommend you guys to pick up. For some of you, this might be a refresher, right? For some of you guys that are making good money, that have invested their money, this might be a refresher for you. But from a lot of you guys, this is information you've never had before. And that's why I made this presentation, because there is a real problem in the lack of financial education in the United States. And it's hurting more and more people. And more people are falling behind and falling into this trap and this idea of hopelessness, because they're being fed that that's just what they should feel, right? And yeah, situation's shitty right now. I'm not going to say it isn't. However, excuse me, it's very important that you understand there are still actions you can take. Knowing how to invest, knowing how to audit your money, knowing what to spend your money on to better your situation. People are oblivious to. They're going to their job. They're blowing their paycheck on way too expensive of cars, paying way high of interest on their credit cards, spending money they straight up do not have, and thinking that, the economy is just fucked, so it's the economy's fault. It's not mine. No, you just were never taught how to do it the right way. If you want a reality check and you want to feel probably a little bit better about your finances, go check out Financial Audit on YouTube. The guy's name is 𝕂𝕕𝕊𝕋𝕆𝕂. He interviews a bunch of people about their financial situations. It's like low-key Jerry Springer now, because the amount of drama that comes with it is hilarious. It's very entertaining. He's a good guy. He's actually from Michigan, which is cool. But go check out Financial Audit on YouTube. I would highly recommend. It's insane. And yeah, that's the end of the presentation, everybody. Building wealth is not complicated. It requires consistency. It requires discipline, just like everything else. But this is a compounding habit, right? If you can understand the core basics, this will serve you for the rest of your life. This will serve you for the rest of your life. And I want you to use this information. Thank you guys for the claps. That's funny. I want you to use this information, write it down, apply it into your lives, and then share it with somebody else who needs it, right? Especially if you have younger people that are in their early 20s that don't know this stuff. Please share this with someone. I'm going to record this audio, or I'm going to record this. This whole call is being recorded. I'm going to put this on YouTube for everyone else to share with. But please use this information wisely and share it with other people, because there is a way through. It is possible to be better off financially and to build a healthy portfolio for yourself and not have to be stressed about money all the time, you just got to know what to do, right? So we went just over an hour. Honestly, I think I did basically a full hour. I started at 11:04. So that is everything that I have. Hopefully that, I didn't throw too much information at you guys. But yeah, that's what we have for today. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. We had, nice little turnout. A lot of people had to have it recorded. So I'm going to send it over and then put it on my YouTube channel. That always do better on YouTube. But I like doing these live because it feels, a little bit more interactive. So I will hang out for a couple seconds. If you guys want to ask any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But outside of that, man, go enjoy your Saturday, y'all. Go do that exercise with your bank accounts and use it to better yourself. Thank you for doing this. Since I've known you, I've been trying to model my financials after yours. A lot of it I put into practice, but again, you taught me a lot. Thank you, my guy. I love you to death, Malachi. You know I love you. Bryson, thank you for the 100 million claps. I appreciate that. That's like your thing. Theo, Ashley. Oh, then it just disappeared. Okay, there we go. Carter for the thumbs up. Okay, guys. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I appreciate you guys all tuning in and spending some time with me extra on your Saturdays. If you're a client, go do your check-in. But yeah, I'll hang out for a few extra minutes if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, you guys can go enjoy the rest of your Saturdays and go build some wealth, huh? W call goat. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Somebody unmute. What is it? I sound like somebody unmuted. Did Bryson unmute? Oh, okay. Yes, you can. All right. Yes, Bryson. I don't think. Go for it. This call was so good. I'm gonna do my check-in. Thank you, Theo. I appreciate that.
Let's say I got a loan on a $30,000 car.
Yeah. And
that's the question.
Let's say you have. That's not a question. That's a statement.
Oh, that's true. No, I didn't. I got a $1,000 Nissan Altima last week, or not last week, last month. It served me well.
Awesome. Stop.